cops are pretty skeptical. From what I've seen, that's what you get. They said they're busy with the carnival, but agreed to do a wellness check. When they said that you're okay, they sounded almost entertained. They said you had some funny friends, and it's always someone's birthday in your building.
We got bored, so we started a podcast about a bar band, man. It's called The Hood Rat Recap. We are your steady stream of the unified scene, all news and reviews of the best bar band in the world we call the Hold Steady. Hello. I am stage right Mike. I thought it would be best if I hung around the upper Midwest, so that's what I did. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, the unified scene's very own King of Queens, Gasper. Gasper, we have a review today.
Yes, we do. Happy Craig Finn Day.
Yeah. So we got new music, a new album, so we're going to just kind of have a little mini episode here, just our initial thoughts on the album. I just heard it. I mean, we're recording on Friday. We had our Hood Rat review, what do you call it? Early release. I got to hear it at 11 p.m. Thursday night. I think it was because it was 12 Eastern that they released it. So I got to hear, our special early release at 11.
Peek.
Yeah, 11. Yeah, our sneak preview. That's what kind of poll we have here at the Hood Rat Recap. So what are your initial reviews, Gasper?
Man, I really like this record a lot. It's so he had said early on that it's a little different than what he's done, and I agree. Some of it almost has more of a country feel to it. Not that I would call it country music, but it's really good. There's almost every track on this record is great. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. My favorite thing about it is the consistency of, I think every track on it, like you said, is great. I think it's his most consistent album. I've only listened to it like 3 times, but so far I think it's his most consistent album where it's every track's consistently good. I hear a lot of Glenn Campbell. Maybe that's kind of the country you're hearing.
Okay.
And I hear more strings, a little less horns, a little more strings. Although Amarillo Kid had a little keyboard action, a little almost synthesized.
Yeah, there's almost like some 80s stuff going on synthesized wise, which is kind of cool. I think the songs that he went with initially, Messing with the Settings and Birthdays, are definitely the strongest on the record. But there's some other tracks here that are going to become quick favorites. I think off the bat, A Break from the Barrage is my third favorite on the record.
Yeah, I agree. That one really stood out to me. The Amarillo Kid. I can't say it the way he says it. That one was really good. I like that one a lot. But I think there's going to be some Never Any Horses, Curtis and Shepherd. I think they're all going to be favorites once I listen to them a few more times. They all have really deep stories, and I think they'd be rewarded by many re-listens.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I think that stands out on this record, Annie Nero is doing vocals, and also Cassandra Jenkins, at least on A Break from the Barrage, but I'm pretty sure it's Annie Nero that's a little more prominent on this record, and it really fills out the songs nicely, man. Like I love when he uses her, and it just seems like she's on this a lot more. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, I did. There's a couple where he has like the spoken word, and then it goes into her singing, which I really thought was a good mix with it. Some of my other impressions are, I'm trying to count, but I think it's at least 4 songs mention a fish tank, but I think it might be 5 songs actually. Did you pick up on that too?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of all over the record. There's some deciphering that I need to do. I actually went looking for lyrics, and unfortunately it's so new that they're just not out there. This is what kind of stinks about not having an actual record in your hand. I mean, because record release day, like, you want to be sitting there and checking out the liner notes and the lyrics and the cover, and like that just doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't exist.
I have them right here, Gasper.
Where'd you find them?
It's a little company called Apple Music, and they have them. They,
That's because I'm a
they
Spotify guy.
yeah, you Spotify guys, yeah. Um, yeah, so I kind of gave him a quick read, and that's when I was trying to figure out how many songs had the fish tank. Pre-release, he had a little spoken word thing. It was almost like a movie, and he talked about having a cousin or a friend that broke a fish tank.
Hmm.
And then in birthdays, he said, the fish tank was just meant to be a temporary home. And I go, oh, that must be. I go, lucky I heard that spoken word thing, or I wouldn't realize there's a broken fish tank. But then he does in the, I can't remember. I think it's Jessamine where somebody breaks or never any horses. They talk about punching the fish tank.
Yep.
So and then it's in 4 or 5 songs. It's just something a little early.
Yeah, there's
that I've
one
been
reference to it that I think it's like every dealer has a fish tank or something like that.
Yeah, and then she has I can't remember if it's Curtis and Shepard, or she forgets to feed them and they float to the top, and yeah. So it's in at least 4 or 5 songs. So that's pretty crazy. Um, okay, yeah. So I mean, I really like it. I think it's really consistent. It's going to be a really deep listen. Um, I also had great time listening to that 30. What is it, like 30, 35 songs that Craig released, that little Spotify playlist.
Yeah, I love when he does
Um,
that. Like he did that for "I Need a New War" as well, and that's always so much fun because you're getting an idea of where he got his inspiration from, and it's pretty
mhm.
cool. Like it's like it's not like you could line up the songs and be like, oh yeah, this is just like that, but you can kind of get the feel and the vibes that he was going for. So
Yeah, so I recommend everybody find that his playlist on Spotify. It starts out with messing with the settings and birthdays, but then he has one of my, like I told you, one of my all-time favorite songs, "Some Velvet Morning" by Nancy Sinatra and Lee Hazelwood. And Lee Hazelwood's got one of my favorite male voices of all time on songs.
hmm.
And then he had some new, like Arab Strap he had some spoken word, and they're a group I'm going to have to check out because they really impressed me on that playlist. Um, so, now we had some questions from Craig when he did the video questions, and I know the Hood Rat Recap. We asked him some questions, and he answered one of them, and a lot of other people asked
Yeah,
questions.
the Ask Craig Finn thing on Twitter was very cool.
All right, so Gasper, I thought we would just kind of read these off here and play Craig's answers. Um, so the first question was asked by Mike Munson, whoever that is,
I think we know that
that
guy.
guy. Yeah, I think we know him. Okay, so I asked Craig, when you start writing a song, do you know right away that it will be a solo song or one for the group? Or can that change by the time you finish writing the song? Let's hear Craig's answer.
Hey, Mike. So when I'm writing songs for the Hold Steady, I'm most often just writing the lyrics. One of the other guys, Tad, Franz, or Steve, gives me music, and I'm putting lyrics to it. With the solo stuff, more often, I'm sitting here with my guitar and my piano and figuring things out. And most often, that kind of just that aspect of the creation takes care of it for me.
Yeah, so I thought Craig answered it really elegantly there. And just listening to the new album, I really seen that the songs are so different than Hold Steady songs that I think once he gets it going, like he said, once he starts creating it, he's writing the music for it. It I think he has a definite direction it's going in. I don't see him like switching halfway through midstream. What do you
Right.
think, Gasper?
Yeah, but it totally makes sense because I mean when you think about it, like yeah, that with the whole steady stuff, there's going to be all the other members of the band having influence on what's going on, and Tad being a principal songwriter and providing the music, it's going to change the whole vibe of how things go. But with this, it's just Greg and his direction and where he was going. So I totally get what he's saying.
Excellent. All right. Did you want to read out the next
Yeah,
question?
so our second question comes from a good friend of the podcast, Dave Woodcock, who we interviewed on the in England. So Dave asks, when the time comes to cast Hold Steady biopic, which actors, living or dead, would play the band members? Bonus question, what would the film be called?
Hey, Dave. Good question. I don't think I'm. I think I'm scared to cast the rest of the Hold Steady, so I'm only going to do myself. But if there was a Hold Steady movie, and I could pick any actor, I would pick an unfortunately deceased Peter Sellers at his clumsiest to play me. As for what it would be called, Rock Problems, maybe. Yeah, I think that's Peter Sellers in Rock Problems, the Hold Steady story.
All right, Peter Sellers in Rock Problems. I like it. So now, who would you cast as Craig in a biopic?
Well, like we said, unfortunately, Peter Sellers is dead. No longer with us. I guess I should say no longer with us, like Craig said it. How about this? Tobey Maguire, when he had the glasses, didn't he wear glasses in one of the Spider-Mans?
I could see
or
it.
the last one,
Yeah,
maybe.
I could see it. Me and Heather were talking
He's got
about
the same
this.
smile. He's got the same smirk, I think.
He
Yeah.
does. Me and Heather were talking about this, and I think we would go with Elvis Costello as Craig Finn.
There is that, yeah. All right. So, question number 3. This comes from Lauren Wright, 66. Hey, Craig, do you have any very uncool guilty pleasure songs, bands that you love? I can't wait to see you in London in September.
Hey, Lauren. Uncool or guilty pleasures, I don't really believe in those. I believe that all music has some value. I'll tell you, though, that Billy Joel is an artist that I very much like, and some of my Hold Steady bandmates would definitely disagree, but not all of them. There's two sides within the band. Very much look forward to be back in London. See you there.
All right.
So there you have it, Billy Joel, which I kind of think of it. I don't think of him as an guilty pleasure at all. I think he's pretty popular.
I
But
agree. I think Billy Joel is he transcends generations. But I like his answer. So I got a very similar answer out of Dickie Barrett from the Boss Tones way back when I used to do a fanzine with Heather. And he once talked about how the best mixtapes are the ones that start off with the rock song and go into a country song and go into a polka song, and it's about good music. It's not about one particular genre, one particular type. So I kind of like that answer as well. But I agree with Craig. But if you were going to pick a guilty pleasure, what would your guilty pleasure be, Mike?
well, right now I don't know. I like Post. I've been listening to Post Malone a lot. I don't know. Would that be a guilty? He's kind of popular.
Yeah, no, I kind of like him.
That's a guilty pleasure. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know. I guess I already said listen. I tell everybody listen to that first album, that Nancy Sinatra, Lee Hazelwood album. I think it's a great album. My parents got me into that one, so it's really good. Yeah,
Okay.
like it.
All right, I'll throw myself under the bus. I think if I was going to name a guilty pleasure, I used to love and probably still do. Remember the band Rat back in the 80s, the hair metal?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is a guilty pleasure for me.
Lately they've last been seen in the Geico commercial when they say we have rats. We have
Yeah,
rat.
that's true.
Their house has a rat infestation or rat infestation. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Who reads the next? I can't remember who
I
reads the
think
next
that's
one.
on me. Okay, so the next question is from Tonight's Hero at Twitter. And he asks, what is your most anticipated new album for 2022 as a rock fan?
Hey, tonight's hero. My most anticipated new album for 2022. I think both of them come out just recently. The new Fontaines record, I love that band. I love this new record. And also the MJ Lenderman record, I think it's called Boat Songs, that just came out and is so good, so fantastic. I've been listening to songs for the last number of months, and was really excited, looking forward to this one. It does not disappoint.
Okay. I'm gonna have to check those two out. I have not checked those two
I
out.
haven't either, but I did throw them both in my Spotify playlist to check them out, so I will be listening to them soon.
Excellent. All right, and so then I think I have the next question. This next question comes from Praise the Gourd. Hey Craig, last solo record was your New York record. Any places in particular that are prominent on this one?
Hey, what's up, Ben? You asked about the geography around this new record. And you're right, last record did deal a little more with New York. This not so much, but I was just going through what places I mentioned on this record. I think there's Denver, Amarillo, Texas, Buffalo, New York, Wichita, Kansas, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that might be it. I'm racking my brain, but that sounds about it. But thanks for asking. You'll see soon.
All right. So you don't get as much New York this time, Gasper.
No, although Buffalo is New York technically.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
All right, gonna jump into the next question. This is coming from Tony V 433. Going through lockdown really made a lot of people realize the need for connection. Would you ever foresee an album where you are co-writing with another artist or singer or songwriter?
Hey, Tony. Yeah, I think you're onto something. I think that that connection was something that we all missed a lot during the pandemic, and still do. As far as collaborating with other artists, yeah, it's something I'm always interested in if it feels natural and if it feels right. I mean, sometimes it's kind of just a square peg in a round hole. But I do believe that two people coming together can make something better than the sum of their parts. So I'm always open to that kind of thing.
So who would you like to see him collaborate with?
I mean, there's a host of people, but wasn't there like they at least teased each other on Twitter about the Mountain Goats and Craig putting out a record together a while back? It was like an exchange on Twitter. I actually was kind of hoping that would really happen. I'd love to see them collaborate with the Mountain Goats. How about you?
Well, I was just gonna add to that. Have you ever seen on YouTube he does where he sings with the Mountain Goats and they sing, "I'm gonna make it through this year." They changed the lyrics to "If it kills me, or it almost killed me." And now whenever I hear that song, I want to hear that part of the song. So it's like, oh, I just wish that was part of the song because every time I hear that song now,
I know
the song,
it's perfect, right? Like, but I love that video. There's
yep.
another good video on YouTube where he's playing with Titus Andronicus, and I believe they each do a song of the others. I don't know where the show was. It kind of looks almost like it's a very small venue or maybe even somebody's basement, but it's a pretty cool video if you check it out.
Yeah, I saw that one live in Minneapolis. They did in a small venue,
Oh, okay.
and I think they did it more than. I don't know if that video was there because they did it more than once, but yeah, they played each other's songs, and then when I saw him live, him and Titus Andronicus, I can't say his name, they did the Replacements, Bastards of Young.
Oh, cool.
They did Bastards of Young together. Yeah.
Nice.
So number 7 comes from, we'll call him Dylan Wholehouse. I don't know what it is. And Dylan asks, your first solo record, Clear Heart, isn't part of the most recent trilogy. I love it and appreciate its connection to my native Texas. What are your thoughts on that album now?
Hey, my thoughts on Clear Heart, Full Eyes, my first solo album. Very, very important in my life. It was, the first time I made a solo record and made it with a bunch of guys I didn't know, which felt like scary at the time. But in the end, doing something that I really loved and creating that record gave me a ton of confidence to pursue things outside the Hold Steady and allow me to work on a whole bunch of different kind of music. So very important.
Yeah, man, I love Clear Heart. That's probably one of my favorite Craig Finn solo records. I mean, you love them all, but there's a lot of great songs on that record.
I agree. It sounds a little different than the other ones. Yeah, I know we were thinking about doing a 10-year review on that one that we still have to maybe we still put together sometime if we could clear the
Yeah.
schedule. But yeah, that's a fun record. Yeah.
All right. So
Yep.
let's go to number 8.
All right.
Do you see yourself writing an album of happier music at some point? That's coming from Jeremy DeSinger.
Do I see myself making an album of happier music? To me, this is happy music. Even when songs are sad, they acknowledge that we as humans get sad, and I think that listening to, performing, singing along to sad songs makes us realize that we're human, and that sadness can be part of the human experience. I find hope in all my songs, and I'm going to keep writing songs that express the way that I feel right now.
I really like that answer. It reminds me a lot of, in the same vein of Blue October, if you're familiar with them. They kind of see their music as like a form of therapy. And so while it all does seem depressing and sad, like it's about getting that out and doing that in a group in that forum of live music. So I think that's pretty cool. What do you think, Mike?
I agree. I think this album, the new album, really made me think of the last couple years that we've all been through. All his characters, I like the fact that his characters are just everyday people, or at least low level, kind of involved, maybe kind of with the crime scene. Maybe that doesn't make them everyday, but they're low level. And they just seem like everyday people that are trying to do the right thing. And every time they try to do the right thing, they get knocked back another block or another step, kind of like what we've been going through the last couple years. So, yeah, I really appreciate it. I think it's really, I think his music is hopeful, and I think it's funny, and I don't know. I agree. I think it's great.
Cool. Yeah, you got the next one. We'll see if you recognize who this question's from.
Yeah, this next one is from a little organization called the Hood Rat Recap. So we basically asked Craig. Craig, you have said your last 3 albums were a trilogy of sorts. Is this latest album in continuity with them, or part of a new series, or is it its own direction? Let's see what Craig had to say to the Hood Rat Recap.
Hey to the Hood Rat Recap. Yeah, this new album to me feels like a new direction from the trilogy. I guess some of the themes are same, and certainly some of the people I made it with are the same. But we really kind of went somewhere else, I think, with the music. One of the biggest elements to that is there's quite a bit of strings done by Trey Pollard at Space Bomb. They make the songs very big, very cinematic, and very exciting to me.
Yeah, I tend to agree. This record is very different than the ones that have come before, and I mean, sound-wise, I think each of them have been different than each other. But this definitely not being part of the trilogy, so it's telling its own story, and it really does feel like it is its own thing. I think you see a lot of, like you pointed out with the fish tank, and there's things within itself that it's kind of calling back on and stuff. It's its own kind of little puzzle to unravel, which makes it very cool.
Yeah, I think the first album definitely wasn't part of the trilogy. That was a little Americana kind of sounding. And then this one, I wouldn't say is part of the trilogy. I think it's a new one. It's like you said, it's more strings, a little less horns, a little more strings, and a little more spoken word kind of mixed in with some of the, and then they'll mix the singing in with a few songs. We haven't had too much of the spoken word except for God in Chicago a couple albums back. So, and I think it was a lot more emphasized on this. This had a little bit more of the Nick Cave, Leonard Cohen. It had a little Leonard Cohen, Nick Cave to it. And I thought this album was really consistent, really happy with it. I think we had one more question.
Yeah, that brings us to our final question, and I think this is the question that a lot of us out there want to know. So this is coming from RS Trim. Hey, Craig, are you going to be doing any U.S. stops for the solo tour, specifically West Coast?
Hey, Ryan. Hello from me and Rosalita. Yes, we will, you will be seeing some more U.S. tour dates before too long. Most of them will be in the fall. We plan to hit a bunch of places, myself and the Uptown Controllers, including the West Coast. So keep your eyes peeled. We hope to see you out there.
All right, so U.S. stops in the fall, which I'm kind of jealous. I think I said this before. You're going to see him the end of this month, pretty much, right? Or is it the end of next month?
June 28th, I'm going to see him in St. Paul, my hometown. So, yeah, I'm excited. I know we'll be reviewing that on the Hood Rat Recap here. Hopefully, I'll get to talk to some other fans and we can hear their voices on the episode. Anybody interested in talking to me about it that's going, let me know, and we'll get together and talk about it. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. Really looking forward to it. Like I've said on other episodes, I've seen Craig. I think I've seen Craig solo. I think I'm going to pass the Hold Steady, just because the 1 year on his second album, he played here like 6 or 7 times. I saw him at First Avenue. I saw him at a free outdoor block party once. I seen him open for Japan Droids. Is that their name? Japan Droids? Did I say that right?
Japan Droids.
Yep. I saw him open for them. Yep. And then like I said, I saw him with Titus. So I've seen him solo more times, I think, than the Hold Steady coming up here almost. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's a great show. And
yeah, man. I can't wait myself. It's gonna stink to have to wait until fall, but it'll definitely be worth it when it happens. I've seen him at a couple places myself. I'm really kind of hoping he does City Winery here in the city, because that's a great venue. It's kind of like you're sitting there and like it's a dinner / like show type deal. They actually make a wine for the artist that's playing that night. So the last time I saw him, I got a bottle of Craig Finn wine, which was kind of fun. Wow. But I've also seen him at a place called Coney Island High, which used to be Brownies here in the city. That's a really, really small venue. Like if you think even smaller than CBGB's, if you've ever been there, which was kind of cool. Everyone's like crowded around this little mini stage, and that was a lot of fun. So we'll see where he plays in New York, but I'm looking forward to it as well.
And it's a little different show than, I encourage anybody who hasn't seen Craig Finn solo and you've been to a lot of Hold Steady shows. It's really different. Like this venue that I'm going to see him at the Turf Club in St. Paul. And last time I saw him there, he'd get quiet between a verse or whatever, and you could hear the bartender like blendering a drink, mixing a drink. That's how quiet it was. So it's sometimes it's a little different than the Hold Steady. Sometimes it gets a little rauncous. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
So here's a weird question for you. Where's the weirdest place you've ever seen Craig play?
I guess it would probably be can I count the Hold Steady or
sure.
Or did you just want Craig? I guess the weirdest place I ever saw the Hold Steady play was a place. I'll do that one first. It sounds like a Hold Steady song. They played in front of a Catholic church under an underpass, a freeway underpass, and Counting Crows was playing at the same time at the other stage. So like as soon as Hold Steady finished, I ran over and I heard their final song. I think was Rain Kings. So I heard the final Counting Crows song. And I guess the weirdest place I ever seen Craig Finn play was the Pizza Luce block party, which was outdoor in downtown Minneapolis, and it was just a pizza place that threw it, and it was free, and he was playing, and I got front and center again, and got a pretty big crowd. So yeah. How about you? What's the weirdest place you ever seen him?
So the weirdest place I've seen Craig, and it was Craig solo, was when he was previewing I Need a New War. So he held like a little impromptu concert, which there's footage of it out there. If you've seen him performing I Need a New War, and he's wearing like a dark suit, like a black suit, it was at this place called Murmur, which Murmur is, I guess, it's almost like a pop-up nightclub that happens inside of a synagogue. They must like rent out their auditorium to be used as like a nightclub or a venue where bands can play. And so, yeah, we went to like the synagogue to see Craig play. It was very weird.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
So this is it. This is the end of the session. I ain't gonna be taking any more questions. I think my attorney's gonna second that notion.
All right, so that was a lot of fun. It'd be great to have Craig on the show at some point, right, Mike? Like, I'd love to try to get that interview to happen. If you're listening out there, Craig.
I think it could happen. So, Gasper, we got some upcoming episodes coming up here on the Hood Rat Recap. Can you believe it? We're actually going to be covering, we weren't planning on it, but we're actually going to be covering the Australian shows because we had Christian was so gracious enough to volunteer his time, and he's going to come on, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Australian shows. So we got the other side of the globe covered.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. That's going to be fun. He seems pretty excited about doing the podcast too, so I think we're going to have a good time with him. That'll
be great. And then I know you're going down to Nashville, so you'll have that covered, and hopefully you can talk to some people when you're down there.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to the Nashville shows, try to keep an eye out for me if you can. I'm going to wear a Hood Rat Recap podcast T-shirt so that I'm easily spotted, and we'd love to maybe do like a man on the street type of thing and get you on the podcast as well. So keep an eye out for me.
Sweet. Yeah. Just look for the guy with the microphone. That's not Craig. No. So Gasper, why don't you, if anybody wants to reach out to us to talk about future shows, where can they find us?
All right. So you could find us on Facebook. Just search for the Hood Rat Recap podcast. And if you're looking for us on Twitter, it's at Hood Rat Recap. And you can send us an email to thehoodratrecap@gmail.com.
All right. And I guess I should clarify, they can reach out to us about anything. They don't have to be just talking about future shows. We'd like to connect with you on any level.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and before I forget, there's 2 more days on our social media poll, T-shirt Tux versus Wait a While. We got a couple of votes in, and please feel free to vote. That's on Twitter if you're looking for that.
All right. I haven't been keeping up on that, so I know we voted 3-0 for T-shirt Tux, but I'd like to see what the fans say, so I'll have to check that out.
Absolutely.
Also, I was going to roll a dice on that, and we'll have to see who we get. We'll have a lucky winner gets a little shout out on the air here. All right.
Nice. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for us. Thanks for joining us for another episode. And I'm Gasper. This is Mike, and us guys, and all of you guys. We are all the Hood Rat Recap.
Yeah.
Killer parties almost killed me. Killer parties almost killed me. There's so much